Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special one and today's video is a tag video and this is the eyeshadow palette tag 5000. The name is as funny as you can think, but it's talking all about eyeshadow palettes and you know how much I love my eyeshadow palettes. So I feel like this is gonna be really amazing. So without further ado, let's begin. I actually saw this tag running around and I saw this first time from Angelica Nyquist, but she did mention that Chic Geek Makeup is the first one that did this tag video. So I'm gonna actually tag both their videos in the description box below for you guys. I'm super excited about it because some of the questions are really nice and I felt like this is definitely worth giving it a try. So the first question that I see is the palette that you wore on special occasion. Now if you guys know me, I just went to India and there were a lot of special occasions, especially for my mom's retirement, and these were the two palettes that I constantly wore for the special occasion. If I have to mention one, I would mention the Natasha Denona Glam Eye and Face palette. I really love this palette. This is like all-in-one kind of a palette for me. I love the shimmers, I love the mattes, and it's very neutral. But saying that, if I wanted to dip into like pops of colors, I often dipped into this, and this is Huda Beauty's Mercury Retrograde palette. Now I don't think that you can find this palette, but this is truly a special occasions palette for me. I have loved each and every look that I've created using this palette. So yeah, if I had to like say which palettes do I wear on special occasion, these two will definitely fall in the first place. There are going to be multiple palettes in every situation, I would say. So let's move on to the second question. The second question is the palette you love but it is repetitive. Now I feel like this palette can be repetitive and that's the main reason why I did not buy it at a full price when it came out. This is a very new palette in my collection and this is the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today. But I feel like even though the shades can look super repetitive in the palette, but man oh man, the shades and the looks that come out of it on my eyes is truly breathtaking. And I'm going to talk about Huda Beauty's Rose Quartz palette. Yes, when I saw this initially, I felt like, I love the color story, like mauvey pinky tones. But as soon as you start wearing this, the shimmers are truly breathtaking. No matter what you wear on your crease, but when you tap that one shimmer on your eyelid, the look is going to be different. Like I really love it. Today, I'm actually wearing this shade Cosmic Moon all over my eyelid. And I dipped into this shade and this shade in my crease. I really love it. I just did a look very similar to this, I would say, but I was wearing the shade Blissful all across my eyelid, and that shade, it's so beautiful. It's so wet looking. It's just beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. The only thing that I'm not wearing from this palette today is the inner corner shade, and we'll get to it when we get to that palette. But yes, this might look a little repetitive, but super beautiful palette. Third question is the palette that you got your money's worth. I immediately knew which palette I'm going to talk about because I constantly wear this palette, like in my everyday life, or if it's like a special occasion, if it's a party, I don't know. I just feel beautiful whenever I wear this palette, and I feel like I got my money's worth, and that is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 palette, which is the rose palette. I love this palette. Like I really love. I know again, this is like a very mauvey tone color story, which is me in a palette. Like I love to wear those tones on the eye. It might look like super similar, but I love these tones. I really love this tone. And yeah, I definitely have got my money's worth because I constantly wear it. This is the palette that stays on top of my vanity. And if I am in a dilemma on like what to wear for office, that's the palette that I go forward to. The fourth question is the palette that has an amazing deal. I have 3 palettes to mention, 2 from the same brand and the third one is from another indie brand. All of them are indie brands, but I have something for like a colorful wearer person as well as like for like an everyday neutral kind of a person wearer. The first brand that I have to mention is Sugar Drizzle. I feel like if you're going with these 2 palettes, you cannot go wrong. If you are leaning more towards like a green and a purple color story, you would love the MILF palette. Like I love this. I feel like this palette does so much more for the money that you're paying for. And on top of that, you can use the code Smithy Sony to save some more. That is an affiliate link, but I just love this. I'm not saying just because I'm an affiliate, because most of the palettes that I'm talking about, not most actually. Actually, these are the only palettes that I have an affiliate code with. Actually, one more. Yeah, I will link everything in the description box below for you guys. But this palette is truly, truly, truly amazing. I thought I'm not a green wearer. And this is actually, by the way, this is a shade that I'm wearing on my inner corner, this one. And this is called Feeling Froggy. This is such a beautiful palette. And the artwork is just stunning, like absolutely stunning. Now that generally is for like a green and a purple wearer, right? If you're more into like mauves and pinks, the red Panda palette, it's truly, truly amazing. I recently did like a Barbie look on my channel, and I was wearing like 2 shades out of this palette. This looks so beautiful in the eyes. All the shimmers are like wet looking shimmers. And this is so impactful, so beautiful. This might look very similar, like this and this might look similar, this and this might look similar, but on the eyes, it's beautiful and wet and different. It's really, really beautiful palette. If you love pinks and mauves in your eye, on your eyes, I feel like this palette is just amazing for the deal that you are paying for. Not even for the money that you're paying for, but overall, this is like a beautiful palette to have. Okay, now let's say if you are not into colors at all and you are more of a neutral wearer, dip into Ladybug Glow. They have this small palette called Everyday Sparkles palette. Now this palette, again, I do have a code with them, which is Smithy Sony, to save some money. This has 4 mattes and 4 duochrome, multichrome shimmers. You have like a peachy, green, brownie, leaning like a terracotta, and like a deep dark chocolatey brown shade for the mattes. And these multichromes are just beautiful. Can you see that green? It turns to a pink, a gold, and look at this, like a purple to a bronze. And these duochromes are also stunning, like stunning. I just love the looks that I created using this palette, and I constantly wear this palette even to office, even though it looks like a, you know, purple and green, but on the eyes with those mattes, it just looks wearable and it has like a special twist to it. The palette itself is like very affordable for an indie brand, and on top of that, when you stack codes, like use any code, even if you're not using my code, just use any code and save some money, and it's just an amazing deal to have. So I definitely wanted to mention Ladybug Glow too. Okay, the 5th question is the quad you love and wish it was larger. Now, I love eyeshadows. I do not have a lot of quads. The only quad that I have in my collection is from Tom Ford, and it is the Nude Dip palette. I would not want a bigger palette, so I did not mention that. But I want to talk about a small palette, which I would have loved if it was a bigger palette, which is not the case. I generally like compact palettes. I love like 12-pan eyeshadow palettes and stuff like that. This is a 6-pan eyeshadow palette, and this is from Nabla, and this is their Cutie palette in the shade Wild Berry. I feel like the shades are so beautiful and so vibrant that I would have not mind if this was like a bigger palette. Like, I love the shades and the look that this palette creates, and I really, really love the tones that this has. So I would have definitely recommended this palette to be a little more bigger. A 12-pan eyeshadow palette in this format would be lovely. Lovely. I love the mattes of the Nabla. Like, I just love them. Like, it's very, very similar to Natasha Denona mattes, and I've mentioned this quite a few times on my channel, especially the mattes. And the shimmers have different formulas. Some of them are like smooth, like sparkly shimmers, and some of them are like metallic shimmers. So yeah, I feel like Nabla does a very, very good job on the eyeshadows. The 6th question is, you love the quality of the eyeshadow but hate the packaging. Again, a palette that I immediately knew the answer for was this. I love Wet n Wild eyeshadow palettes, especially in this like 10-pan format, and especially this palette, which is my Glamour squad. This dupes the ABH Soft Glam palette. I've traveled with this so many times, but I hate the packaging of Wet n Wild. It's so flimsy. Of course, the palette is very, very cheap. Like, it's $5 or under, but I felt like even if you can like make it a $10 palette but give a good standard packaging, it would have just meant the world, because they do eyeshadows really well. I just do not like the packaging. I have had so many palettes from Wet n Wild whose lid just come off and then I cannot travel with it. I would have loved if this was like in a better packaging, because the eyeshadow quality is really good. The 7th question is, show your dream palette with singles. Now, I very recently did a video on my channel where I was like packing for India, and I took my Wicked Widow Beauty Scissorhands 2 palette and I put in my single shades. I'll pop a picture on the screen for you guys so that you can see how that looks, because I do not have it right now. I filled it with like multi-chrome, duochrome shades with like standard matte shades. If you are a colorful person, I have 2 palettes to mention again. If you are into color, that is my dream palette. But if you are into neutrals, this is the palette that is by mixing Natasha Denona midi palettes. And this is like my perfect palette. And this is how my palette would look. This actually is combining the Natasha Denona My Dream palette, the Retro palette. Is there a Glam palette also in it? Yeah, those 2 palettes mainly. And I just love how this came out. Actually, this is only the Retro palette and My Dream palette combined together, and I really love it. I absolutely love the way how beautiful the looks come out of it. It might look like very similar, but this creates so many different eye looks for me. It also has that multi-chrome right in the middle, and then they have warm tones, we have cool tones, we have neutral tones. I really love the curation of this palette that I have like put together for me. But yes, if you like the multi-chrome duochrome shades, then I would highly recommend seeing that video. I'll link it in the eye cards above. But that palette was truly special. I used it so very much when I was traveling in India, because all the special occasions that I like could use colors into, I just picked out from that palette, and that was beautiful. The next question is, which are the palettes that you like combining together? I do often combine palettes together, but I often combine these 2 palettes for sure, because I love the looks that come out of these palettes. And both of them are from Adept, and this is the Heather Austin palette and this is the Minka palette. Let me open it and show it to you. This is how Heather Austin palette looks. Like a beautiful tone of mattes, and the shimmers are absolutely beautiful, breathtaking, and like shifty. Really love this one. And then the Minka palette has majority of the shimmer shades and like very dimensional shimmers. And they have 2 mattes, but again, this is purpley mattes. And you know, if you know, you know, I love my purples. And look, when you combine these 2 palettes, I feel like the possibilities are endless. Like I love combining these 2 palettes. And for that reason, I definitely wanted to mention both of these palettes, because the quality is absolutely amazing and Adept doesn't go wrong with any multi-chrome shades. The 9th question is, a large palette that you wish that it was smaller, and I immediately knew what to recommend, and that is ABH Norvina 5 palette. I love this baby. The only regret is that I feel like this is such a huge palette with purpley tones. Again, I love my purples, so I do not mind it, but I would have used this so much more if this was like a 15 pan or like a 12 pan eyeshadow palette with curated tones, because I still feel like these 3 shades are very close to each other. I feel like some of the pinks are very close to each other. We have a bunch of mauves here. I definitely do not like the addition of the pressed glitters, because I'm not a glittery person, so I do not like that pressed glitter that is there. But otherwise, I feel like this palette could have like been curated. These white tones, I don't feel like we did need all of this, and it could be like a more curated but a beautiful color. So because the quality is like chef's kiss. Love this palette. And I would love to have like a smaller version of this in future from ABH at a lower price point. Like I really love this quality. Okay, the last question that I see is an eyeshadow palette you wish had a matching face palette. As soon as I heard that question, I loved the packaging of this eyeshadow palette, and I would have loved Love to see a face palette version of this, not only because of the packaging, but even the shades that are chosen inside the palette. And I'm talking about the Odens Eye Jewels and Gems palette. Look at the packaging. I cannot get over the packaging. It's so beautiful. It's just breathtaking. I love the artwork that Odens Eye always comes out with. And look at the color story. I cannot tell you like how beautiful I feel when I'm wearing these shades. I would have loved a face palette with like a mauvey tone blush, a bronzer on the side, like just to complement these green tones, a highlighter, maybe a duochrome highlighter with like a pink and a peach. That would be amazing, or like a green to a gold highlighter. Like I feel like you can do so much in like the face palette and like give a very similar like artwork on the packaging. I feel like Odens Eye would just kill it, like kill it. I was a little disappointed that I could not see a face palette in this like collection, because artwork stunning. So those were the questions for this eyeshadow palette tag 5000. Do let me know if you are a creator yourself. Please do a version of this on your channel and tag me on it, because I would love to see all your videos, because I love tag videos, especially eyeshadow tag videos. I really hope that this video was entertaining for you guys and you could like dabble into my collection a little bit and look into the palettes that I really love the most. So if you did like it, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.